Hi everybody. So what can you invest in now that's going to give you success later? That was my question before surgery. I bet it's yours too. Give me a second and I'll tell you all about it. So hello, welcome back to Book of Erica. This is the place where you go to hear all things bariatric surgery, pre-op, post-op, and life after complications. My name is Erica and I am a nearly 12-year veteran of the gastric bypass surgery. I am not a medical professional, but I am a patient with some unique experience who would like to share that with you so that you can go into your journey having a little more knowledge than I had going into mine. If that sounds like something you might be interested in, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the bell notification so that you know whenever I post a new video. We've been going over our pre-op steps for post-op success. It's a list of things that I believe you can do as a pre-op during your 6-month pre-op diet that are going to set you up for your best life after weight loss surgery. You can get that list in the description box below. I'm making videos every week to go over those in a little bit more depth, to give you a little bit more information to go along with that handout. So this week we are talking about what tools that you need to invest in for after surgery. Now, when I was considering what to put in here, I thought, I could do all the things that I previously posted about what I bought, but instead, I'm going to link that video, that real old video of mine in the cards of what I immediately bought after surgery. And in this one, I'm going to focus on things that I actually used and in some cases continue to use to this day. So let's jump in it. If any of you have gone back and watched my older videos, then you know that I was very, very sick immediately following my gastric bypass. Like vomiting, ill, all day, every day, couldn't hold down liquids, okay? Initially, after surgery, you can only take in an ounce at a time. And that can be very frustrating. And I didn't make it past that point for a very long time. That is not normal. So if you do go back and watch those videos, don't freak out. But I had to stay there for a while. And ultimately, it's possible you could too. So in order to make sure that I was not overeating, I ate out of medicine cups. Okay, the ones that come with like cough syrup. That was my meal. I would put soup or broth or whatever into a measuring or into a medicine cup. Looking back on it, if I had it to do over again, I would get sake cups. My wonderful fiance has a set of these. They are tiny. Let me hold this up so you can see. Like tiny. That is like compared to the size of my hand, very, very small. It's meant for sake in Japanese culture, but it's the perfect size for the amount of soup that I could eat post-operatively. And it makes you feel like you're eating out of a dish and not taking some cough syrup. So I'd highly recommend having something like this on hand for immediately after surgery. Going right along with that, your portions are going to be considerably smaller after surgery, especially immediately post-op. So if you don't have them already, you want to invest in smaller bowls and smaller plates. Take, for instance, these bowls are part of similar sets, okay? But they are much, much different. Like if I stack the big one and the smaller one, you can see that there's a humongous difference. And of course, if I do them the other way, this one just kind of falls into the other one. But they are like, is that better? I don't know. I don't know that you can get a visual representation of this, but this one is smaller. It is not as deep. It is not as big around. But if I put, say, oatmeal in this one and fill it up, I'm eating less oatmeal than I do in this one if I fill it up, but my brain is going to think it's the same thing. The same thing goes with plates. So a normal dinner plate is bigger than my head, by the way, but it's huge. And for the amount of food that you can eat after surgery, you really need something this sized. So I ate off of these little saucers right after surgery. That is a humongous difference in the size of plate that you're using. But the plates are identical, so it was similar to what I was used to eating off of. And if I made this one full, then my mind said, oh, you ate a full plate of food. Whereas if I put the same amount of food on this plate, it would look very sparse and empty, and my brain would say, well, you didn't hardly eat anything. So I highly recommend small bowls, small plates, and the sake cups. Same thing goes with small Tupperware. So I am a big fan of taking my lunch now because it doesn't pay me really to go anywhere else. I do sometimes, and I can eat off of whatever it is for multiple days, at least twice, if not 3 or 4, depending on what it is. But if I am packing up leftovers at home, I use small containers because I can fit my serving in this little bitty container or in one of these little bitty containers, and odds are I'm going to be fine. Now, if I use one of these smaller ones, I may initially be like, man, I didn't eat much, but if I'll give it about 15 minutes, I'm going to be completely satisfied because that's how this works. So there's that. Invest in small Tupperware. Now, I don't have an example of this one because mine is in storage right now, but I do highly recommend the little silicone cupcake pans because you can use them to freeze things like chili or spaghetti or whatever in your little individual sizes, and then you can just pop them out and heat them up as you need to. Wonderful idea. Also, you want to invest in something that's going to make it easy for you to measure your fluid intake. So, I have mentioned before my love for the Yeti cups, and that is largely because they come in tumblers. The tumblers have sizes, you know how much they hold, easy to calculate. You've heard me before say I love my G0. Easy to calculate. This is what I took with me to Disney because I needed a way to know that I was getting my fluid in. I got this at Walmart. It is Ozark Trail, and they're so cheap. And I just filled it up, added a little bit of flavor to it, drank it all day long, but I knew how much I was getting in. That's what's important. It doesn't matter what you get. You could get that. I think way back in the day I had a Weight Watchers jug that had the ounces on the side of it. You can get something like that. It doesn't have to be expensive as long as it tells you how much you're drinking. Okay? That's important. Something to keep your supplements in so that you know whether or not you took them. Like, take for instance, this is going to freak some of y'all out, but I just changed to these because I wanted to fit those calcium chewy bites in here, so I needed something bigger. But this is all of my medicine and supplements for the day. I have just filled it and started a new week, so don't think that it's going too terrible. But this helps me to know, like, take for instance, today is Tuesday. I have taken Tuesday mornings medicine. When it's lunchtime, I will take lunchtime and so on and so forth. And going back during the week, I know whether or not I took my medicine that day. So you can get some of these at the Dollar Tree. You don't have to spend a fortune on it, but I highly recommend something similar. That way you can keep track of whether or not you've taken what you need to. And my last tool to help with your food is a kitchen scale. These are available at Amazon, Walmart, Target, wherever. They come in all sorts of shapes, sizes, colors, like you name it. But the point is, you measure your food, you know how much you have, you don't end up overeating. Now, tips and tools that I use for exercising. My number one tip is to get some very good supportive shoes. I did not realize how important shoes were until I started having hip and back pain, like terrible hip and back pain. And as it turns out, if you go to some of these specialty stores, they actually make shoes according to how you walk. Who knew? So I highly recommend going and talking to some of those people and getting you some good shoes. My shoes that I love so much are the Brooks Ghost shoes. I'll link those in the description box below. Not an affiliate, but if they ever approach me about that, I might become one, and it could be an affiliate link. If you happen to click that, I might get a kickback, but like I said, I'm not an affiliate. I'm just throwing this out there in case I ever become one. But there you have it. Highly recommend the Ghost. But go try on their shoes. They're available at like Academy Sports and Dick's Sporting Goods and that kind of place. Go try them on. Find you a pair that feels good on your feet and gives you the support that you need. You're gonna love it. Number 2, compression garments. Oh my Jesus. So I have vein issues because I was morbidly obese and I have a sedentary job. I now have to wear compression socks. They're the best things ever. Y'all, if you're having trouble with your feet swelling, compression socks is where it's at. And I will link to you the brand that I found. I found them, well, at a pharmacy first, but paid through the nose. They're available on Amazon. So I will link the Amazon link down there for you. And that way, if you need them, you can find them, but they are the best ones that I've found. They don't roll. They're wonderful. I highly recommend them. Also, in the realm of compression garments, Spanx is where it's at. I was blessed to not have, I probably have 20 or 30 pounds of excess skin, but my skin is not as bad as they expected it to be for the amount of weight that I lost. So, I was very blessed. Lots of people are not. So you need a plan for the excess skin afterward, and compression garments is where that's at. So check some of those out. I highly recommend that you invest in some small weights or maybe stretchy bands, because you can exercise with those while you're sitting or while you're out doing other things. So that's going to help you, and then you can just progress from there as you build up your tolerance and build up your strength and that kind of thing. But having the small ones on hand to begin with, it's really easy to be like, well, I'm going to start with 15 pounds because 15 pounds ain't nothing. I can lift a 10-pound sack of potatoes like it ain't nothing. You can hurt yourself with those weights because, yeah, you lift the 10-pound bag and you move it where it needs to go and you set it down. If you're doing repetitive motion, eventually those things get really, really heavy. I'm just saying. The next thing I would suggest investing in when it comes to your fitness is like a Fitbit or an Apple Watch, something like that. I use a Fitbit. Mine is charging at the moment. Bad timing. But I highly recommend the Fitbit. I have the Charge 3, and it tracks my heart rate and my sleep and all kinds of goodness. And it's really motivational. It's going to let you know how many steps you've got in. I can't say enough about it. But it can get you moving. It's a good investment. Okay, and then tools for everything else under the sun. These are just random. Find a good hydrating cream. Excess skin gets dry, and being a little bit on the dehydrated side is going to make your skin dry. So find a good cream that you can put on your skin that's going to keep it from getting flaky, because if you don't, it gets very flaky and the flakes get everywhere and it's gross. It's just gross. You don't want to be that person, so find you a cream. Also, not to be a little gross, invest in chewable Gastric. Simethicone is your friend. Okay? It will help you through so many things. So, just get you a bottle. You can decide what flavor you like. They've got peppermint and they have cherry. I like both of them. As long as it gets the job done, I don't care. But the chewable is going to work better for you than anything else, because of the way our stomachs work after surgery. So, chewable is where it's at. And my last investment that I made that I still use to this day is a smart scale. And the reason that I love the smart scale is because, like, take for instance my numbers for March. Sorry. Like, it'll give you your body fat and your body water and your bone mass, your visceral fat, all of these different things. It sends a pulse, and that electrical current goes through different tissues in different ways, so it can measure all of this stuff. And it's all important information for you to have. It will let you know what your overall health is and what you need to work on. I highly recommend it. Very, very useful. So there you have it. That is my list of tools that I still use more than a decade after surgery. Some of them are probably things that you wouldn't think of going into this as a brand new person. So I hope you found something helpful in there. If you did, give it a thumbs up and join me next week as we go over the next step that you can take as a pre-op to make your life better after surgery. Thank you so much for joining me. My question of the day is, are there any things that you're wondering about that I didn't cover? Leave that in the comment box below. I should be here for a little bit, and that way I can talk about it with you. Okay? I will talk to you all next week.